Unit 7, Functions, Parallel and Perpendicular Lines. So we're going to review. Parallel lines have slopes that are equal. So if you have parallel lines, the slopes for both of those lines will be the same. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals of one another. So let's look at some examples. Let's find the slope of a line that's parallel and perpendicular to the given line below. The first equation is y equals 3/8 x plus 0. My slope is 3/8. Again, my slope is the coefficient of x. 0 is the y-intercept. So this line intersects the y-intercept at the origin. If we were to write the equation for a line that is parallel to this line, it would have the same slope. So the slope would be 3/8. If we were to write the slope of a line that's perpendicular to this line, y equals 3/8 x, my slope would be the negative reciprocal, -8/3. The next equation is y equals -4 minus x. Let's rewrite this in slope-intercept form. Y equals -x minus 4. So let's remember that the coefficient of -x is -1. Okay? So the coefficient of -x is -1. So a line that's parallel would have the same slope, or -1. A line that's perpendicular would have the negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal of -1 would just simply be +1. Number 3, x plus 2 equals y. This is almost written in the same format as number 2, where we have y equals -x minus 4. But let's just put it so y is on the left-hand side. So we have y equals x plus 2. And now we can get started. So we know that the slope is the coefficient of x, and the coefficient of x in this example is 1. So we know that a line that's parallel to y equals x plus 2 would have a slope of 1, and it would have a perpendicular slope of -1, or -1/1. Let's look at these two lines and determine if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Y equals 2x plus 1. Y equals 2x plus 1 is already in slope-intercept form, so we can go ahead and just stick with that the way it is. Y equals 2x plus 1 is fine. 2x plus y equals 2, however, is not in slope-intercept form. Let's put this second equation into slope-intercept form by moving the 2x over to the side with the 2. So to do that, we would get y equals -2x plus 2. And then let's rewrite the equation above it as y equals 2x plus 1. So in the first equation, my slope is 2. My slope is 2 for the first one. In the second one, my slope is -2. Well, I know that if lines are parallel, their slopes are equal. So I know that these two lines are not parallel. I know that for perpendicular lines, the slopes are negative reciprocals. Well, they are not negative reciprocals. So these two equations are neither parallel or perpendicular. What about these two lines? Let's look at our first line of y equals 6 minus x. Let's go ahead and rewrite the first line in slope-intercept form. So that would mean we would just flip-flop the 6 with the -x. So we would get y equals -x plus 6. Let's look at the second equation of x plus 6 equals y. Let's put this in slope-intercept form. And that one's pretty easy because we're just going to use the symmetric property to write y equals x plus 6. Now we can go ahead and look at the slopes. The slope for the first equation is -1. because we'll remember that the coefficient of negative x is negative 1. So negative x is really equal to negative 1 times x. Okay? The slope of the second equation is positive 1. So to have parallel lines, my slopes have to be equal. So these two lines are not parallel because negative 1 isn't equal to positive 1. What about perpendicular? Perpendicular slopes are negative reciprocals. Well, negative 1 and 1 are negative reciprocals of one another. So these two lines would be perpendicular. Finally, let's look at these two lines and figure out if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Let's look at the first equation, y equals negative 5. Well, let's draw a graph and figure out what is y equal to negative 5. What does that look like? Well, let's label our axes. And y equals negative 5. Let's draw a line on our coordinate plane that looks like this. And let's say that that is y equals negative 5. So we know that horizontal lines have a slope of 0. So we know that y equals negative 5 has a slope of 0. Y equals 5x minus 1, we can see that the slope of the second line is 5. So these lines are not parallel because the slopes are different. They're not negative reciprocals. So these lines are neither parallel or perpendicular. Thank you for watching and enjoy the snow.